How is everybody doing tonight? It's Dakota from Dakota's Den. Glad to see you. I hope everybody had a great day today. I know I sure did. Even though it was raining here, I still made the best out of it. I got to go to the gym. Well, I'm here today to tell. I swear to God, you know what? I should start this over, but every time I start a video, I get the coughing. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm here to tell you about a man named David Brenson, if he is a man. David Brenson is a prisoner in Murrell State Prison. Now, David Brenson is incarcerated he's been there for 30 years, and he's incarcerated for taking out four people in the back of the head, execution style. Okay? He's in jail. He's been there for 30 years thus far. Now, he was not a good man, but someone saw the goodness in him. A young lady by the name of Stephanie Dowell. Stephanie Dowell. So Stephanie married David while he was in prison. And may we say, Stephanie, rest in peace. She passed away 4 years ago. Okay, she passed away 4 years ago while she was visiting David in the prison. Now, while she was there, at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m., she was on a conjugal visit. And he ran out of the conjugal visit housing, and he said, help, help, help. She passed out. She fainted. Okay, so the guards go and get her medical help and take her to the hospital, wherever, where she passed away. Now, moving forward, this is 4 years later. I don't know why it took so long, but 4 years later, the coroner's office finally determined what unalived Stephanie. So just a little bit of a backstory. Like I said, he's a hell of a man. He pows people in the back of the head, and she married him in prison. And may she rest in peace, because we are not talking about Stephanie at all. What we're talking about is you have to be very careful in this world who you align yourself with. When a person tells you who they are, and those of us who are old enough to know, we know when they tell you who they are, believe it. Younger people don't really know that, and some older people don't know it. They just turn their head and, they put it out their mind, all the signs, all the telltale signs, they put it out their mind. And this man, David, you did telltale signs, telltale victims, all the victims he had. I don't care how slim the pickings are. I'm not going for a man that has taken out 4 people. And I'm going to go visit him and be in a room by myself with him. I would be scared to death. He was 54 years old, still fairly young and strong after being in prison for 30 years. She was 62 years old. Okay? So that was 6, 7, 8. It was an 8-year difference. Ladies, don't be dating no men younger than you. Stay with men your own age or older. Okay? Because your muscles are kind of like equal. And if you have to get down, it's easier for you to get down. You can't deal with a younger man. But with that being said, okay, so Stephanie Dowell was her name. She was 62 years old, and she passed away during the conjugal visit at 2 a.m. So 4 years later, her passing has been deemed a homicide. Am I surprised? You're in a room with a man who piled 4 people, and I know he probably had things going on mentally. I'm pretty sure he wasn't nice and cushy and cookie and ice cream like Jesus. I'm sure he had things going on when she had visited him, because it wasn't her first conjugal visit. I mean, conjugal visit, he wouldn't turn me on that way. He wouldn't turn me on it anyway. I would have just forgot that man even existed. If she hadn't married this man, and she had 2 children too. She had 2 sons. If she hadn't married and went to see this man, she might still be here, but I guess that's not the point. Okay, so at 2 a.m., he came running out the cell. She passed out. but it's now been said that it's a homicide. And I don't have to tell you guys what happened. The coroner's office has determined that she was strangled. She was strangled. And I wonder who did it. But there wasn't anybody else in the room. It was just the two of them. But she was strangled. Now she has two sons that I'm pretty sure her sons were grown if she was 62 years old. But they have to deal with that. And now here, some 30 years later, we found out what happened. I don't know why it took 30 years later. I'm sorry, I don't know why it took 4 years. An autopsy usually, I don't know, maybe takes months or I'm not sure. But I find that very strange. You know, what is to that? Did they try to hide it? Were they trying to hide it because they went to prison to get a bad name? Or, I don't know. Did they try to hide it? Maybe somebody else was in the room? I don't know yet. I don't know. But I just feel bad for her. I'm pretty sure being in that room with that Lucifer, she was probably just scared to death. I don't know. So, my other question is, why did this man have conjugal visits? Because he was not a model prisoner. And I know this because he had 4 write-ups while he was in prison for his shenanigans. So he should not have been allowed conjugal visits. But he was. So I don't know. I don't know why. I just wish things would have turned out better for her. That's all I can say. I feel sorry for the children. I feel sorry for her. And I hope that bastard just rots under the prison somewhere, because that's a shame. She was trying. They said that she was a kind and caring person and that she saw the best in everybody. This is what they're saying, you know. I just feel bad that this happened. So, with that being said, speaking of corruption, if you will, I don't know, Tony Buzzby, somebody who doesn't really matter, but Tony Buzzby, his corruption is real. You guys know that Tony Buzzby was the one who went after the lawyer who went after Jay-Z for the 13-year-old Jane Doe, which has been thrown out and with prejudice, which means it can never be, without prejudice, which means it can never be revisited again. So that's the Jay-Z and Tony Buzzby story. Everybody knows that to nauseum, so we are not going to get into that. But what we are going to get into is that somebody is saying that they are coming for Buzzby. Somebody is coming for Tony Buzzby. And it might seem like I have like a smirk on my face, and I don't, because, you know, I don't want anybody to come after anybody. But the way these lawyers have been reacting, it's like how they have been acting, it's like they're their own enemies. You know, it was like personal. There was no Jane Doe and any other victims. It was just two type A machismo personnel alpha men just going, and don't forget Spiro, you got to throw him in there, just going, Jay-Z's lawyer Spiro, just going at it. Forget about the victims, just trying to show who was the best or the highest or the whatever, you know. So because of all that, somebody is coming for Tony Buzzby. Somebody is taking pictures of his family, his daughters. They're tracking their locations, and they're sending them threatening messages. And Buzzby gave all the information to the police. Someone has something to gain for this situation with Tony Buzzby. Now, we all know who might have something to gain, and that would be the Diddler. You didn't forget about the Diddler. So, because Tony Buzzby was coming after the Diddler like crazy before he went after Jay-Z. But Jay-Z's case is gone. But, you know, Tony Buzzby and Jay-Z, they still have 3 active cases. Stupid, frivolous, alpha male lawsuits. They still have 3 cases. Get out of here with that stupid crap. Okay, we got a lot going on that we're going to talk about after little politics after this. And the consequences, they're saying to Tony Busby, okay, this is what they're saying, quote unquote, paraphrase. If you don't fix this, you're going to suffer the consequences. So somebody is sending messages to Tony Busby saying, if you don't fix this, you're going to suffer the consequences. What I want to know is, fix what? What does he have to fix? Leave Diddy alone, maybe? I don't know. Maybe fix the 3 remaining lawsuits that he has going on with Jay-Z. I mean, it seems like those 2 are the ones who would have the most to gain. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? It could be the 13-year-old Jane Doe. Who knows? But Tony Busby has to fix things or he's going to suffer the consequences. So, who's coming after Busby? Who has motives? Might be a quieter few people that have motives, right? Maybe it's some of the victims on the other side. You know what I mean? Yeah, with these guys, you never know. So, there's speculation, of course. Diddy, Jay-Z, whoever. There's speculation. Okay. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. It's just a bunch of stupidity, if you ask me. But there's one man who might have something, who might know more than the rest of us. And his name is Brian Sherman. Okay? Brian Sherman was charged with stalking and threatening Tony Busby. And at the present time, he is on the run. He also threatened Tony Busby's law firm, which he said that he would take the whole floor out. The whole floor where Tony Busby's law firm is, I will take the whole floor out. Somebody hired Brian. So who knows, Tony? The key to your case and getting whoever off of your family's tail is going to be through Brian Sherman. Brian Sherman must have been offered a lot of money because there's no way in the world am I going to be going after a $50 million lawyer and his daughters. It is not happening. Now, so that's the story with the useless celebrities. All the stories with the celebrities are useless now, And rightfully so, because we have so many more things going on in America today in the political area. And one that stands out to me is I did some reading today and I heard that there was an executive order signed a few days ago, last week, whenever it was signed. An executive order was signed where contractors. Now, let me go back a little bit. I noticed a lot of YouTubers and a lot of TikTokers are talking about this executive order that was signed by Trump. And the executive order is saying that segregation between black people and white people, segregation is no longer going to be considered illegal. You heard me. This is 2025. And an executive order was signed saying that segregation is no longer going to be considered illegal. Now, I did some digging, and the way it was worded is it said contractors, specifically contractors, who are contractors? Contractors could be anybody, right? Well, we know like contractors that'll come and do your floors or your ceilings or put your roof on. Those are contractors, right? We know that. Contractors, could they be restaurants? Could they be grocery stores? Could they be clothing stores? Are they considered contractors? Because that's how the executive order reads. Contractors no longer have to deal with segregation. It is up to them, if they want to put black only here, white only here. Now, is it black only, black only, look, I can't even keep a straight face. Blacks only can go in this door and whites go in this door. Blacks can only drink from this water fountain and whites can drink from this water fountain. And is it going to be reversed because if something like this happens, of course, black people are going to have to, start their own thing, like Black Wall Street, remember? They're going to have to start their own businesses, their own banks, their own hospitals, da da da. So is there going to be a sign on there saying whites have to only go into this door and blacks can only come into this front door? You know, whites can only drink from this water fountain, but only blacks can drink from this water. I mean, and whites not allowed at all. I mean, is that what? Let me tell you who's going to suffer from that. I'm not going to suffer from it because I really don't care. But I'm going to tell you who's going to suffer. White people and black people alike, but especially white people, the sins of the father comes down to the sons. I hate to say it, but in my view, when one group of people, well, no, it wasn't one group of people, but just for all intensive purposes, if one group of people do something that is really horrendous, that affects everybody in the whole world, especially the children are going to suffer from it because intuitively they're going to know that, wait a minute, this is the weirdest thing I have ever done. You know, I have a black friend and my black friend can't come into this door, or vice versa. You know, you have a black person and they have a white friend. Oh man, you got to go around the back because you can't come in the front door because my dad will kill you. Well, no, that's just a joke. But I don't see that as being good for anybody. Like I said, us older people, we don't care. We've been through much, much worse. But the younger people, it's really, really going to be ugly. So what if you have like a nice restaurant or whatever, an establishment, and it's a black establishment, and you have a white president, and a white president or a senator or governor or whatever, or mayor, whatever, wants to come into that establishment, but because they're white, they're not going to be allowed. Or what about Obama? What if President Obama, comes into a restaurant? He's not going to be able to come in? Yikes, that's kind of like weird, isn't it? I don't know, but that is what stuck out to me in politics today. Oh, politics is it's just a bag of crazy cats. Everybody is in the bag and everybody is scratching to see who can grab the most money, who can grab the most money before they pass on. That's what it seems like to me. But I just wanted to bring you guys, just talk to you a little bit about the poor lady, Stephanie Dowell, and that bastard husband of hers, and Tony Buzzby. I know Tony is sorry that he even got involved with Diddy and Jay-Z. I know he is sorry, because I know I would be. I know it. And as far as the segregation thing that's going on, you know what? I don't know. In my heart of hearts, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it. I mean, I know it happened, but I just don't see how whites are not going to be allowed in black establishments and blacks are not going to be allowed in white. I mean, to me, that's just weird. I don't even think God would let the world go back like that. That's just stupid, if you ask me. But anyway, what do I know? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I'm just reporting on what I heard because the word contractor really stood out to me. And I think that word contractor was put in there for a reason, which I haven't heard any of the experts talk about what that reason was yet. But I'm pretty sure that someone will, maybe Bernie Sanders, because he seems to be pretty, on point. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi to you guys, and please, everybody, hey, listen, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I am not playing. I am serious because I am trying to grow, and I appreciate giving you guys the news. Okay, everybody have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.